Yo, 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 yo.
Jules, what's going on, man?
What's up, my guy?
You got to try to get back together again, man.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, man. It's rough in the streets right now, man. Yeah, I just got done work and we finished up our convo from like 3 years ago.
Right?
So I'm not sure where we left off last time, but I guess we can.
We can start anew.
Yeah, we could start anew, man. So appreciate everybody listening today on Melanin Dads. I have a special guest with me, Mr. Mark Lewin.
Yes, sir.
And to all my listeners, just want to kind of share a background about this fine gentleman. Me and Mark met each other through this. We know the same people, but also one of my good friends is also your cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So we just kind of are in the same loop together.
Yeah, it's we got to thank Mr. Vanish for that.
Yeah, Mr. Vanish, and yeah, definitely Mr. Vanish. Shout out to Chris, and it's crazy because Chris was my boss when I was 16, working at the movie theater on Six
Yeah,
Ninth
me,
Street.
man. Chris go back to the the fifth or the sixth grade, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm kind of happy that he's getting married. Hopefully it'll go fall through well,
Yeah.
and I get to be a part of that ceremony for him. I appreciate his him asking me and giving me the honor
Wow.
to be a part of it. So I'm kind of delighted and happy to see that
Yeah,
somebody that we
he
know each other
deserves it.
from that long.
He's a good guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um. So yeah, I can't wait to see because I feel like it's his time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
with that said, yeah, with everything going on in the world, how are you doing with being able to stay afloat and also stay afloat, not only physically but mentally, and still have to be like a husband and a dad and a provider and everything.
It's a it's some trying times, man. To be honest, and when the whole COVID thing hit, um, it hit me specifically because I got let go because of that. The company I was working for went through a number crunch and they quite a few of us go. And
Wow.
unfortunately, I was one of them. So imagine, we are we're in the process of getting a house built, um, and I got let go. And one of the things I learned because I've been through a situation like this where I got unfortunately let go because of a number crunch. Um, Actually, right after I got married, like the week after I got married and came back
So
from
this
my
is
honeymoon,
this the
I
second time
got
you've
let.
been laid off?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Number crunches, man. Number crunching. That's the thing with corporate America. You go through
Yep.
those number crunches. But this time, I had a better handling on things. Um, put out, I knew how to go through and put out my resume and kind of, you know, did the job walk a little bit just to get my name out there and get my hands into some recruiters uh, um, into their database and fortunately I got a call um, right before we were making settlement and the job was literally the job is 20 minutes from the new house, so
Wow.
it all worked out.
Yeah, it was for a reason.
Yeah, that's what I
But
always say.
but the good thing is right now with the COVID, I mean, we all have to kind of have that mentality of we just can't even worry about those type of things. It's like, I mean, what's somebody gonna do? It's it's one of those things. Like a lot of it is out of our hands, and mental wise, we have to just make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do for our direct people. You
Yeah,
know, yeah,
yeah, and as somebody that's I'm old school in the thought process of as being a provider and not not having finances to provide for my family is a huge thing for me. Fortunately, the company gave me a good severance package that I was able to stay afloat
right.
until I was able to find this position. And then having the type of wife that I have, holding me down, supporting me even with being out. Uh, but she gets on me because having that pride of being a provider um, can get in my way a little bit, and it can stunt me a little bit because having that and having that mentality of I gotta provide, I gotta
Hmm.
provide for the family will kind of shut me off from asking for help. And
It's
and
funny,
it
man, because I go through that all the time. I think
hmm
I think us as I can't speak for outside of my ethnicity, but
hmm
I know all the men that I know is something that you know we all have, that if we don't have any other type of pride, I feel like that's the only bit that we hold on to.
yeah, yeah, and it's something that needs to be drilled into like the younger generation, because because of history, we were kind of put out there where uh, we were restricted from being with the family and restricted from providing for the family, and gradually after a while that mentality kind of takes place where they have us labeled as deadbeat fathers, and not knowing that because of history, um, and that being ingrained in us, that's why that the black man is out of the family structure, but it's gradually coming back around where the people, the men that not did not have their fathers involved in their lives are now taking the reins of being in their children's lives because of that. And they don't want to repeat the same tragedies of history. So, and that's one of the biggest things with me was, I kind of give a backstory. I'm from Jamaica, and my dad, my dad has, the rumor says he has at least 23 kids. so,
Oh, he was a Rolling
so
Stone.
I am one of 23 supposedly, and I'm supposed to be the second of the 23. Um, but when I was 8 years old, my mom brought me up to the States here. So I didn't see my dad or grew up with my father, and I didn't reconnect with him until I was maybe like 24 years old.
Wow.
So um, just
Did your
with
mom?
that.
Did you have a stepdad or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's the great thing, my stepfather, man, he's a great guy. My mom had three kids prior to meeting him. My older sister and my brother right underneath me. Not with my biological. Well, my sister and I are with my biological father, but my
Hmm.
younger brother has a different father. So, just the fact that this man, um, accepted us as his own, or accepted a woman with three kids like that and made him his own. It's I owe him a debt for that, and just that example itself allowed me to be to see my stepson the way I see him now, as not a stepson but my son. Even
Hmm.
though he's not biological, he's my son, and I had a lot of great men in my life. My uncle and my grandfather who passed away. That guy was one guy that I. It's like I emulate what he was, and he's the example that I want to be.
Mm. Yeah, that's how I'm with my stepson. I don't call him my stepson. I usually say like bonus son, or because he calls me dad. So
Mhm.
it's not like Julian or Mr. Julian, it's dad.
Yeah,
And you know, in the beginning, he said if it was okay if he could call me that, and I say, you can call me whatever you like, whatever you're
yeah,
comfortable with.
yeah,
So when he asked me to take that on, um, and not to discredit, but his dad is very active in his life. But
right,
seeing his mom married to somebody, and seeing how my boys call me, I understand, and I never shied away from you know trying to live up to his expectations as best as I can.
right.
And it's hard. It's
Yeah,
very hard.
yeah, it is. It is. The troubles of being a
I'd like to thank everyone who really took the time to listen to the first episode. As I move forward, I actually was able to get in touch with a lot of good people who are going to be able to help me edit some of these episodes, so I'll be able to get them out faster. With that said, if you ever felt like you wanted to have a voice, I feel like the Anchor app does a great job of allowing you to start your podcast, and it's very easy to use. So what you could do is, if you have an iPhone, you can go over to the Apple Store, or if you have an Android phone, you can go to the Play Store and download the Anchor app, or go to Anchor FM from your computer to get started.
Yo, I have to say, shout out to the active Black men who are just active.
yeah, yeah.
It's when I say, like, it's very, 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 very difficult, hard to be who we are.
Especially in this day and time, man. The distractions, I guess, could be overwhelming. Just the way society is now, um, can
Yeah,
make it a little bit stressful and hard.
yeah, and we talk about pride. Um, part of me feels like you have to have it though. It's like you have to sometimes make decisions that that your partner is not going to like, and
Mm-hmm.
then deal with the consequences afterwards. Even I know that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it can be very trying.
Yeah, but as long as you're doing it in the interests of the family,
Exactly.
you're making those decisions as a man for your family. That's the key aspect of it. If I make this decision, will it be in the best interest of my family? And if the answer is yes, and then you can kind of live with the consequences of that.
Um, yeah, man. And I don't know. You 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 get into a thing where you make a decision, and it's like you just have to make your bed and lay in it. When you were talking about your wife and everything like that, being the support that she is, has she ever made you feel like, not to discredit, I'm just saying, like, from a mental standpoint of you being a black man and knowing what it is to not grow up with your actual father, because stepfathers are great. And I
Mm-hmm.
always tell my son, like, even though I am your dad, I am your stepdad, and I'm never going to replace your actual father. Nothing's going to. I tell that with my kids as well when it comes to their mothers and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I say your stepmom's here not to replace your mom. She's only
Mm-hmm.
here to add on to the benefit of what a mother is supposed to be and do for you in this life.
Yeah, and that's the key thing too. With me and my son, his father is fairly active in his life. He has some issues that he got to work through, and his son is not too keen on some of those aspects that he's has to go through. So he kind of leans on me more to get what he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first got with my wife, and I had a conversation with his dad, and I was telling him, listen, I'm, whatever, however you want to raise your child, that's how you want to, that's going to be your factor. But I'm only here in the household to kind of enhance what you're trying to teach him and what you're trying to, um,
Mm-hmm.
how you're trying to raise them. If we
Yeah.
have an issue in a difference in issues on that, then I'm not afraid to kind of reach out to you and say, hey, let's talk about it. And he's been a fairly understanding guy, and we've had no issues at all. So I just had to make that known to him, hey, look, you lost out on a woman, but you shouldn't lose out on being in your son's life. I'm just here to enhance everything, just to enhance the experience for our son, and go from there.
I wonder why some of us, because I've had that similar conversation, and even if my wife is talking to, um, my son's father,
Mm-hmm.
um, he'll be like, "Yo, tell Julian I said what's up," and we might talk and say, "Hey, what you catching up on?"
Yeah.
And not to, it's crazy because my son's father is actually, and he's actually locked up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's crazy because let's not even get on top of the prison system. That's
Mm-hmm.
a whole different other beast. But this is someone that I know that doesn't belong there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that doesn't deserve to be there. And seeing how strong my son is to have to be able to still look past that and have a relationship because he's a very intelligent young man. Um,
Yeah.
but to see how active his dad is still with calling him every single day, um, making sure that he's still taken care of, uh, whatever the case may be, of his money, whatever the case may be, he makes sure that he's still a very active, you know, embodiment of in his son's life. And
Mm-hmm.
I will always respect him for that because I see other men out here who don't who are within feet, of their responsibility, um, and still just ignore it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing that they could be right next door and don't even see their kids or do anything for their kids, but
Sad,
yet
man.
they're mad. They're mad at you for being in their child's life. Actually, they're mad at you for having the woman. But it just amazes me when I see something like that. That that's a good guy, that he's taking care of your child, but you're mad, or you don't, you're telling the child's mother you don't want no man around your child, but you're kind of not doing the same thing.
Bro,
You're not
I'm
doing it for your
bro,
child.
I'm waiting for these women to be like, "Yo, Julian, I found somebody," or even my kids tell me that I would throw a party. So I don't know why they don't have people yet.
Yeah.
Um, but listen, I want. I'm not saying we gotta be, best buddies. I don't say we gotta text each other,
Right.
and hang out. But if that time ever comes, like it was even times where my son told me that one of my sons told me because both of my sons are by two different women. So
Okay.
already playing chess as hard as it is
Yeah.
now. But it was a time where my oldest son mom had a boyfriend, and I met him. I shook his hand because I need to know who's around my son.
Right.
But I'm not going to be disrespectful because at the end of the day, I don't want to bring extra drama to your life. I'm pretty sure your life's already hard as it is now. Like I'm not. I feel like the older time goes, your mindset should change as well.
Should
Like
change.
it
It
should
should
be,
get better.
yeah. I don't know
Yeah.
if I know we've been talking about pride, so I don't know if that's a pride thing in some of these men, but it's like I don't know anybody in my life that I'm close with to where I know that they're a deadbeat to ask them like, yo, why you don't take care of your responsibilities? I feel like everybody that I know that's in my circle, that's in my
Hmm.
life, which includes you as well too. These are all people that I've looked at and been like, okay, this is inspiration for me to do better as a father, me to do
Hmm.
better as a husband, to me do better as a black person. You know, so I feel like I've always tried to always flip it into a positive light opposed to being, mad at, oh, this person's getting up or this person's doing better than me. Where do I got to go to, you know, look at improving myself if I'm so worried about what this person's doing better than me at?
Yeah, and that's one of the things with that needs to change with a lot of us is that ego thing. I don't know if I can call it pride. It's that
Mm,
ego thing where, we got to show that we're alpha males. And if we're not alpha males, we're not controlling the narrative of the situation, then, we got to kind of wreck shit, what I mean? Just to prove
right.
ourselves, you know what I mean? And you can't let go of, you know what, you messed that situation up, you messed that situation up, and that person's moved on. So, instead of trying to control two different households, just move on to, stay with your situation and work your situation out, and let that other person move on it with their lives, and continue to strive for success in their lives. But is that ego, man? That ego, I can't call it pride, man. Pride is a little different. Pride is wanting to do the best for you and those around you. Ego is that green-eyed devil, man, and that's the thing that can destroy.
Yeah. I guess some people teeter it because I do see, people who I would be like, yo, this situation would have definitely been different if it was me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's crazy, man. It's definitely one of those things. I feel like us as people, I just feel like if some of those things were addressed and just talked about, man, it'd be
Mm-hmm.
so much less death in our city. Um, the misunderstandings that go into these murders
Mm-hmm.
of people, innocent people. Not saying everybody's innocent, but it's like, you know, why take somebody's life for it?
Right,
I,
right.
I've never felt anything that was that serious to be like, okay, this person needs to go.
Yeah, there's back in the day we scrapped, and after the fight, we loser goes home in practice. You know what I mean?
Right, you gotta
Loser
come
goes
back
home in practice, come
for
back and
round
see.
two if that was that
Yeah,
deep.
yeah. See if your Jedi skills are better at the next round. But nowadays everybody you can't lose. Nowadays, everybody don't want to do the hand to hand combat because they can't lose, because that this social media thing and being you know everything being filmed and everything, which is has its benefits and has its its curses as well. But just being on film and taking an L is a huge thing for them. It's like you can't lose, and if you lose, then you gotta shoot up the whole block just to get revenge. And
Yo, side note, I don't mean to cut you off because something stuck out to me what you said. You said Jedi. So are you a Mandalorian fan?
I've watched about I'm 7 episodes in, and
Okay.
um I needed to get better. I hope it got better.
Yeah, it's a see me, I like westerns. I like westerns, I like sci-fi, and
Yeah, I love
I'm a Jedi freak.
yeah.
So only reason I asked that because they had showed the trailer for season 2 and they had Sasha Banks in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't she had a cloak on, so I don't know if she's gonna be a Jedi. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, man. So definitely catch up because the next season come out next month.
Okay, I'll be on it this weekend, hopefully.
All right. Back to business. So um yeah, man, it's crazy that we kind of didn't really have an idea where we were going with our talk, but I feel like we were able to find it through just having a regular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason why I'm saying that because that situation happened with me today when we talked about pride. So I just felt like you brought it up, and I felt like that was just the inside voice telling me that this is our direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah.
That whole pride thing, man. It's a gift and a curse. I, my wife and I were just talking about it this morning. Just being out of work and just trying to provide for the family. And she's like, I hate it when your pride gets in your way where you don't ask me for help. I'm supposed to be your wife. I'm supposed to help you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I still gotta be a man, though. I still gotta be able to provide. It's like I can't. It's not that I can't allow her to help me, but it's
You just don't want to feel from
yeah.
I'm not saying you, but when I do it, and I do it very frequently,
Mm-hmm.
um you I know, like, when it comes down to it, and this it always comes down to the last second where shit's already fucked up.
Yeah. Well, I
And
don't. I
then
try not to let it get to that aspect.
yeah,
And if it is, you remember that episode of Martin when Gina asked who was it, Cole, for some money or something like that, and Martin was like, "Well, Gina, you're supposed to ask me. I'll go ahead and ask Cole. Cole will give me the money. I'll give it to you. Then when I get it, I'll give it back to Cole." You know what I mean? That whole thing. I'll go around. I'll ask somebody else before I ask my wife.
right.
Just I don't know.
Listen, man,
It's weird, man.
I do it all the time, man. Like, and it's crazy that I have like friends who are closer to me than my own family that
Yeah,
will lay the clothes on off their back for me.
yeah, yeah,
But I turn around and try my best to fulfill their cup as best as I can.
yeah,
If I see the phone ringing, I have to pick it up and where you need me to be and how high you need me to jump.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
um so we've always had that. So it's weird that you feel like you I can say for me, um you know a part of me, the reason why, is just like your wife will say, oh, I can't wait to do this, or oh, I got this plan with my money, and then you start
Mm-hmm.
thinking like, damn, I need help with X, Y, and Z. But if I
Yeah,
ask my wife this, then she's gonna have to forfeit all the things that she
yeah,
wants to do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then you start thinking like, damn, she never was going through this before she met me.
Right.
Then damn, then I'm gonna have to hear about this later.
Yeah, it's like financially, you have to be able to provide. And if you're not able to provide financially, you feel less than. And you shouldn't feel less than, because if you have a good woman behind you, she's not going to let you struggle. She's not going to let you, fall behind, and she's not going to hold it against you if you do. She's going to, all right, babe, I'll take this, the next one you got, when you can. And having a support system behind you like that, it should lessen the pride that you have. And unfortunately, um man, I'm not there yet. You would think I would
No.
be, knowing that I have that kind of support system, but um
And how long you and your wife been married now?
well, we've been married about 11 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's something where I know that I grew up in a household where my dad wasn't in there.
Yeah.
And I grew up having to work a job at a young age and, support my sisters. So I
Yeah.
always felt like I had to be a provider.
Yep.
I wanted to be married by 30.
Yeah.
Um, and you know my life before my wife. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think it was going to happen. And, 30 hit and I, rekindled with the, woman I'm with now. And we're married, March will be 5 years, and it's
Wow.
something that 5 years went fast, bro.
Yeah, dude. You look, man. 11 years went fast. you
Yeah,
know.
because you think about it, it's five. Shit, I've known you about 9 years, 10
Yep.
years now,
Yep. Yep.
So and the crazy part is we don't talk as much as we should, but it's never something where I'd be like, man, I ain't talked to Mark, man. Fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's always like that's my guy right there. When we do talk, is it's just like regular, like we ain't never miss a beat. Like when I hit you up the other day, even about talking about this conversation, it was like it was like not a catching up thing. It was like, yo, what's currently going on with you, man?
Right.
And
Right.
uh, a special
How it's
person
supposed
told
to
me
be,
that,
man. That's
yeah,
how it's
yeah.
supposed to be, man.
Someone told me life was short, and I've always had that type of mentality where I can't really be upset with people with living life because I know how I am,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, I have a lot of friends. It's like I have different pockets of friends, and I have a lot of friends that I grew up with that I don't talk to on a regular, but if they're having something or they're doing something, hey man, I'm doing this, I'm having this, you know, I'm there, and then we're just it's like we throwing a card game. Let's play some spades. Let's play some pity pad. They like to play poker. I don't, but you know what I mean? It's just like just regular. And that's being an adult, man. And that's just, being an adult, being a responsible adult, and taking care of your responsibilities first. But you never lose focus, or, lose the friendship that you've built with people, especially when those folks are genuine, like
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. I feel like when I have that type of bond and energy with somebody, it's something that I have to, it's never going to go away, regardless if we speak 3 days, a year, a month, whatever case may be, So
Mhm.
I feel like that's where the ego comes out of.
Yeah, yeah.
So it yeah, man, it's something where it's like a mental battle that I go through when it comes to, sharing certain information with my wife.
Yeah, yeah, and it's again, it comes down to pride that as good dudes and good men, we want to be like my stepfather and my grandfather. Actually, all the men in my family have always been the provider of their families, and they've
Hmm.
always I that's the thing that I see from them. Like my biological father, he I'm not going to shit on him, but you know, I didn't grow up with him, and most of his kids did not grow up with him. Maybe about 4 to 5 of them that grew up with him, and just kind of having the example of my grandfather and my stepfather and my uncle, just being who they are, just always being there every time. They're always with their kids. They're always providing for their kids. They're always providing for their family. That's the example that I want to set as well. That's the precedence that has been set prior to me that I want to continue on. And I do see, like, my stepson, he just got a child, and man, that dude is not following in the steps of his father per se, but kind of the example that he saw with me and his mother. Where
Wow.
I'm taking care of the family, and that's the precedence where that it just takes that one person to change the history of a family. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I'm that, so generations later we could fix this structure of their black family where you
Hmm.
know we're being told that we're no good, or we're not, black fathers are not in the household, and if we're in the household, we're this type of person or that type of person. But
Hmm.
I see a change, and I see a difference.
Yeah, and I see a change with the community of men that I know, and
Yeah.
it always makes me happy because I was one of those kids, not taken away from my father, because my father and mother were married
Hmm.
before they were divorced, and my mother didn't want my dad to be in my life, um,
Hmm.
for whatever reason, so she would run, and so that's I always have that instability as well, just running,
Yeah.
and being scared that you know that might happen to me one day with my kids, so that I always fall into that mindset of trying to be everybody's friend,
Yeah.
so those people don't drastically do something like that, because quite frankly, a lot of people, don't think about their kids as much as they should, and
Right.
what affects their kids and what does not affect their kids. And just understanding that, for a child to have the perfect balance in life, they need both parents, you
Right.
know. What I feel like I wanted to do different and break a generational curse, because, a lot of things that you were saying about your stepson, and seeing the man that he's growing up to be, and the things that you instilled that you didn't, that you weren't able to be privy, even though you had a stepfather, it's you didn't have your actual father,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know um and I'm a stepdad, so I will never discredit step parents,
Yeah.
but there's nothing that fills that void except having the person that gave you life.
Right. Right. Exactly.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
know yeah. So we we are all on the same path of breaking generational curses that we've went through, that
Hmm.
we don't want the future generations to you know be a stigma of.
Right.
I think we're tired of this shit. I, I
Yeah.
think I think we're tired of being labeled things that people don't even know who we are, to even talk about something that they are you know oblivious to.
Hmm.
you know
And because it was kind of inbred in us to be away from the family.
oh yeah.
It's people like to ignore. Well, the people that like to ignore history are always the ones that want to label you in some kind of, in some shape, form, or fashion as black men. But they disregard that. You know what? You were stripped away from your family. You were told that you couldn't be a family. Then you were um, kind of bred like an animal would be bred to um, mate multiple different women, and then remove from that woman, and then let that have that woman um, raise the family without you being in that family structure. So you could be on one plantation and your child, you know, depending on how many kids that you have, could be on multiple plantations. So you wouldn't be able to see your kids. So imagine that being happening over, you know, 200, 300, 400 years. And then all of a sudden you're being told now that, you know, in the present time that you're not a good person, or not, you know, your race is not a good, you know, father figure. But you're ignoring history. You're ignoring history, that, you know, you were bred to be a part, to mate, and to be a to be apart from your family.
Right, because you know from day one they stripped you of your name.
Absolutely.
They gave you a name. They put you up on the pedestal and sold you like like
Cattle.
you
You're a
yeah you
cattle.
yeah man like you would do vegetables or fruit. We were
Yeah.
just cargo. You know,
Yeah.
it's and then you take that, you finally get out of that, then you go through the segregation. Um, then you go through
Yeah.
then you go from that to going and then you're inputting drugs into the ghettos. Um, you know, parents strung out on crack. You know, it's crazy because when I was a little kid, I didn't see any of this. I just thought my mom was on drugs. I just
Oh.
thought that um, you know, I had to be by myself. And you
Mm-hmm.
get older and you see how many generational curses, slavery, segregation, Fair Housing Act, the drug war, prisons,
Mm-hmm.
um, all these things have been incorporated into making sure that we are where we are at
Yeah.
all
It
given
was.
times.
Yeah. We all that stuff was done to us to make us fail. But look at us. We've survived.
We had to.
We've literally survived a whole lot of stuff that would have broken them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You figured, okay, look at 9/11. When 9/11 happened, and the stock market crashed, and how many people that lost their livelihood, that was making good livelihood, kind of committed suicide. The suicide rate was high with them. But we looked at it like, okay, we've been through this before. We know how to deal with, you know, those type of struggles, and we survived through it. You know, that the whole history, with us being in this new land here, would have broken a lot of different ethnicities, but we survive. We're survivors, and whatever they throw at us, we'll just take it in stride. We'll flip it, make it a good thing, and all of a sudden now it's popular. Let's take, the food that we used to, be served because it was scrap and it was unworthy of them, but we took it, we flipped it. Now it's, you know, soul food. You know what I mean? Chitlins. We were given
Scrapple.
chitlins yeah, we were given that, but now it's soul food. Now it's a delicacy. You know what I mean? Because we flipped it and made it something great.
Right.
So we're survivors, and as Black men, we are going to survive through this. We are going to come through this, and we're going to be better for this, or be better because of it. And we're going to we see that turn coming, like you say, that generational curse. The men that we have in our circle are men that are like us, that are making it better for our families. We see that curve coming, and you know, hopefully the next generation will take that into the next step, where we're building stronger families, where our men, 95 to 100% of the men are in the family, and are being strong providers
Yeah.
for their family. We won't see that stigma or that label of being a deadbeat person.
Yeah, I had to. It's funny that we talk about this, and it's crazy, man, because it really took me to start going through my own mental journey to realize this the mistakes that I was making that I felt like I was doing so well on that I had to kind of
Mhm.
like, at that point swallow ego,
Mm-hmm.
and revamp it because it wasn't doing any justice to nobody, especially myself,
Right.
and just thinking differently when I'm having conversations with my Black children, and the way that we have to talk to them. It doesn't even have to be about police, but
No.
it's about the way we have to speak to them. That I know that other, you know, ethnicities are not speaking to their children and like I had to tell my oldest son the other day, his mom was mad at him about, not placing his key.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he was coming off to her was very nonchalant. And she was very, very pissed at him.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to explain to him that you are getting upset with your mom for her reaction to something that you did.
Right.
And that you have to understand that maybe a portion of why she's upset has nothing to do with you.
Right.
Maybe it has a lot to do with, her looking at you as her right hand man, her road dog, and her constantly getting brick walls thrown in her face by you. I said,
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand, or maybe it does. Maybe this is not even what she's going through. But I want you to look at it from a different perspective before you shut your mom. You shut down and then shut your mom down, and then now you're getting in more trouble than what you're getting into, opposed to just doing the right thing the first time.
Right.
And I had to explain to him that you have to understand that your mom's dad wasn't the best father for as a child, or maybe even now. And
Mm-hmm.
then you have to look at that the person she had a child with isn't with her as well too.
Right. Dang, that's deep, bro. That's deep.
So so maybe she's like looking at you to be there for her, to give her those answers and be the man of the household because she doesn't have anybody. And the
Dang,
only
that's
person
deep,
that
bro.
she can trust is you,
Wow.
you know, because my son is very nonchalant. He's like me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I actually think about and I actually, articulate that the best way I can. And I'm trying to get him to get there because I don't want him growing up and, you know, saying the wrong things to women or saying the wrong things to people, having kids out of wedlock,
Mm-hmm.
not communicate, because all those things factor into making sure that you keeping it together. You
Right.
know, um, and when I said these things to him, his look was different
Mm.
because I want him to think different because he's 13.
Right. Right.
So he should know from that conversation alone the effects of having children with people that you're not married to
Yeah.
and leaving them and the effect it might have on them long term.
Right. Dang,
You
that's
know,
deep, bro.
yeah, man, because it's like with my kids, I try to be as transparent as I can, but
Yeah.
also learn, like we always go back to the partners we have, and I feel like my wife has done a great job with making sure I'm teaching lessons and just
Mm-hmm.
not talking about shit because I want to talk.
Right.
And you know just seeing my son ask more questions and open his mouth more. I know that he wants to be a better person, you know um and just sometimes shutting up and just listening, especially to women, especially like to Black women. um,
Right.
that's very, very important because um you know I didn't grow up having the best relationships with Black women.
Right.
Even going back to my mother and the relation, the constant fighting we would have because she was high on crack and um, didn't really know how to be a parent at those times. So
Mm-hmm.
my trust and everything for Black women was not where it should have been. And I see that that's where it led me into a lot of, dead relationships I've had, because I would, time to, throw the smoke and clear,
Right.
Whereas though if I went and started doing therapy at an early age, it would probably result into my life being a lot different than what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So with that
That's deep,
said,
man.
have you done or doing any therapy?
No, I have not been. Um, I don't know why, but I have not been. I've been, I like to talk about the situation with the person that I'm having the issue with.
Right.
So I guess that's the only therapy I do is listen, let's talk. Here's my concerns, here's my issues, and how can I resolve it to make it better for you?
That Yeah, and I feel like I've been trying to be more of that person,
Mm-hmm.
but even when, like, for example, my mom was killed, it drove a wedge between me and my wife, because I was looking for her to be that person, you know
Right.
um and on the other end, I'm pretty sure it was very overwhelming to her, and it was our first year of marriage,
Yeah.
and we're talking about someone who, father was killed at a young age, and expecting, not thinking about these things, man. Really would it really puts a what's the word I'm looking for? It really puts a damper, or it just makes it harder. But if you have these tools, I feel like it opens up other doors to be able to explore, you know. Um, that's why only reason I said that. Like, I feel like that's the best way to approach it, is to be direct. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's sometimes there's under layer things that a lot of people aren't going to be able to, help you with. Everyone's always there, like your wife's always going to be there to support and console you. But I know for me, I have so many under layer, issues. If it's my childhood, if it's all these other things that I feel like would be easier if I tackled earlier in my life, opposed to now at an older age, and trying to be a dad and a husband and a provider during a pandemic. you know
It could be daunting, bro. It can be
yeah.
daunting. I kind of like to I guess I have friends like my cousin. Um, he's more or less my confidant. I'll hit him up and like, look, man, here's what I'm going through. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. And he and I don't pull punches. Hey, look, you wrong. You dead ass wrong, bro. You dead ass wrong. So he'll tell me that, and I'll appreciate it, the honesty that he pulls no punches with that. He'll tell me if I'm right. I don't go to him for the pity party. He know definitely not to come to me for the pity party either. You know, um, and it's like with situations we want to talk about. Sometimes we want to go for the pity party or go for the validation, and he and I are gonna pull those punches with each other. Hey, if you're wrong, you're wrong on that.
Yeah.
So that's just my other way of getting around the I guess the therapy question.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't need it. you
Yeah.
know a lot of people don't need it. I know I need that shit.
Well,
But
it's a good thing that you're honest enough to recognize that and to actually, if you have gone through it, to go through it, and just that it again, it comes down to pride, or in this sense, you know what, you put your pride aside and say, yo, I need this. So
This is true. And with everything said, how are you feeling about the election coming up?
um well, that was one of the reasons why I had to get off of social media, because it was
It's
getting too overwhelming, because
daunting, bro. That's our Sesame Street word of the day, man.
yeah, it was daunting, bro, because you know what, everything, I got into a conversation with somebody on the opposite end of things, where it got a bit too involved, and I was like, you know what, this is getting too much, and I gotta kind of remove myself from it. But um, I'm not voting for the orange man. I'm not, and I'm not a strict Democrat, and I'm not a strict Republican. I am a registered independent. I voted Democrat, I voted Republican, and I voted Green Party. I voted Libertarian Party before. I like to vote on who I thought is the best for me, and I do my research into the candidates. But
Right.
this one here, bro, this one here, we can't have another 4 years of that guy. Cannot.
And I think that's where last time went wrong, is because you had Hillary and you had this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people went, all right, well, I ain't gonna vote for neither one, and I'm gonna
Right.
go do the independent. And then we know what happened with that. It turned around and it helped Trump win.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what he wanted. And quite frankly, I feel like he had something to do with all that stuff coming out about
Yeah.
Hillary.
Yeah. He definitely did. But it's she won the popular vote, which means she won the people that were voting votes. It's just that the electoral college was the one that voted Trump in. And I am not a fan of the electoral college um, aspect of elections. I think there needs to be a better system in place um, in order to elect the president. I don't think it's a popular vote, because um, having 4 to 5 states with more people per capita vote for a president would be a bad thing. You can't have California, Florida, Texas, Chicago, Pennsylvania being the only states that are big enough, or New York, to vote for a president. But this electoral college thing needs to be revamped, needs to be changed um, in order to be better.
Yeah, it's something where we were all confused that night. I'm like, all right, says she won this, and
Yeah.
no, I mean, I'm like, checking the papers, putting my eyeglasses down, like, wait a minute, she won this though, but she ain't the president though.
Yeah,
And
yeah. She won the popular vote, which is she won the people's vote. She won the people's vote, but she lost because of the electoral college.
which is bullshit. But also, I feel like look how long it took us to get a black president. I don't think America was ready to go from a black president to
So a
having a
woman's
woman
president.
as a
Yeah,
president. Man,
absolutely right.
that would have been too much of
A
well, now
radical change.
we've been talking about pride, bro, but we also been throwing that ego in too.
Mm-hmm.
So that white pride that affects not only black people but women of all colors,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy because it's like, but yeah, I've been telling this about everybody. I've been telling this to everybody though, but I came across this interview, this lady who was she was like a professor at Berkeley, and she wrote this book called Stranger in My Own Land, where she
Mm-hmm.
actually goes and she was interviewing people in like different parts of the country, where they'll actually, tell you that they feel like they're getting kicked to the back of the line.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's only them though, bro. It's only them
there,
now.
there's been this thing going around social media for quite a few years now where um the question or the statements is asking about what if what if there's BET, what if there's a WET or something like that. And it was, I did some research in that. It's from a guy who he's from a right wing or white supremacist type of um, uh, uh, group. And their whole thing is that, with the mixing of the races, the white race is now becoming a endangered race or
Species.
endangered
Yeah.
species.
Yep.
And in order to continue to have a white race, they have to start, separating or having segregation. But it's a fear. It's a fear that, the fact that people are integrating more. There's a mixture. There's, remember that one thing about, one drop of black blood makes you black. Um, the pure race is not going to be anymore. But it's a fear. They have a fear of there not being a white race, and I can understand that in that regards. But it's you know people are, yeah, I mean, people are evolving. Well, the human race is evolving, and I understand it. I understand where they're coming from, but I don't agree with the premise of down in another race or culture or
Why you do it?
ethnicity just to big yourself up. You know what I mean?
Which is crazy because even when we had opportunities to build our own communities and neighborhoods, they would go in there and fuck it up.
Absolutely. They don't want anybody. They didn't want another race to have success.
It's
They
crazy,
didn't
bro.
want that success.
It's it's one of those things that, probably until the day I die, I will never understand. Um,
Yeah.
just not caring about the next human being because they look different than you,
Yeah.
or their gender preference or their sexual orientation preference.
Yeah.
Um,
I was having this conversation with somebody online. I said, listen, I don't care. I'd rather you have pride in your ethnicity. If you're Italian and, you know, you love being Italian. That's a great thing. But don't put a person down because they're
they're not
French.
Italian. They're
Yeah,
not
don't put
Italian.
another person down because they're French. You know what I mean? Hey, look, I'm Italian. Here's what we do good. You're French. What do you guys do good? And then you just sample each person's offering, and hey, I like that. It's a little different from what we do, but I like that. You don't have to put anybody down just because you want to big yourself up. That's
Yeah.
you know that's that's pigheadedness. That's just being a pig. That's just being a straight up pig.
And yeah, man, it's I hope, when my kids get older and yours as well, that they don't have to continue fighting. It's like every generation um, you know, has fault, and
Yeah,
you don't get an opportunity to worry about your kids. You don't get an opportunity to worry about having a good relationship with your wife or husband or friends, or being successful, when you have to worry about you know people that look like you getting killed, or not getting the same opportunities because of your skin color,
yeah,
in a system that was never built for us anyway.
yeah,
But I even was saying, like, I was looking at the not even the news because I don't watch the news, but for Martin Luther King to speak 57 years ago, man, It
Mm-hmm.
really ain't that long time ago, man.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It hasn't been.
It's not.
The
You
fact
know.
that we
Yeah.
just got out of, I guess we were emancipated. It's not. It's only been, you know, e- two grandparents away. You know what I mean? Literally, it's only been two
Yeah.
grandparents. Your great grandparent, like some people's great grandparents, were just the first time that they were free.
And I was talking to my dad, and he was telling me he remembers when Martin Luther King was shot.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad, that's somebody that is my parent. So for
Yeah,
him to be like, yeah, I remember when Martin Luther King was killed, that doesn't sound that long to me because me and him are only about 30 years apart. No, I'm sorry,
yeah.
we're me and him are 22 years apart. You know,
It's not that, bro. It's not that long ago. Really, it's not that long ago that Tulsa, Oklahoma happened. It's not that long ago that Rosewood happened. Rosewood, Georgia, I think it was. Rosewood, Georgia happened. It's not that long ago that we were so-called emancipated. It's
the
not that
mood.
long ago.
Remember the mood. Remember they blew up that block in
Yeah,
Philly.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah,
not that
man.
long
So
ago, man.
the disregard for us is one of the things, is one of the hardest pills I have to swallow because I just don't know why.
We're a
And
threat. We're an absolute threat. We're a threat. I don't know why we are a threat, but they just view us as a threat. Anything different from them is a threat to their existence.
bro, I was in this. I love history and I love watching old interviews of black people like James Baldwin, Muhammad Ali,
Mm-hmm.
Harry Belafonte. Like these are people who stood up to make sure that we are here today to be able to have the freedom that I guess that we have now.
Right,
Um, it, it's sad when you hear people say, "Well, you should be you should be grateful."
right.
Are you grateful to have these things? Because to me, you've always had these things.
Yes,
So you
it's it's your inalienable human right
right.
to be treated as an equal to somebody. If my qualifications are better than yours, just based off of my skills and experience, let that be it. Don't think because just the simple fact of my skin color being different should make me inferior or superior than you are. If our qualifications are different or mine is better or yours is better, fine. Let that be the only thing that qualifies you.
It I do feel like the reason why we've had to evolve and that we evolve in the path that we have done through history is because I feel like we've had to go through so many extra hula hoops to get a job. Or if you look at movies, like I always reference movies, but like The Banker.
Mm-hmm.
um
Oh, I love that movie.
Bro, listen, man, they had to hire a white guy who worked for them
Yeah,
originally to be the front face for this property business so that they can buy properties and you know put. And then they bought that bank down in Texas,
yeah,
and so that black people who own businesses in the area can get loans because they were always denied loans because they were black.
yeah.
you know
But but
um
think about that for a second though. Just what you just said. Think about that for a second. They had they had to work with somebody that they hired to have him be the face because of their skin color. Think about, in history where, you know, some of the inventions that happened for this country were invented by black people, but because we weren't considered human, or because we were considered property, some of the slave owners took some of those inventions, took the patent, got the patent for it, and made a fortune of it. So now their generation of family
oh,
prospered,
definitely.
while the slave family um, you know, did not gain anything off of it. So a lot of the inventions were like the cotton mill. Why would a white person, consider creating that, I mean, instead of having more slaves to do the work. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it had to be the genius, the ingenious of a black person in order, to make they saw the work, they saw a way to make the work better. They created the devices or the apparatus to make the work better, but they got no credit for it. Somebody else took the credit for it, and they gain a fortune while the rest of their family, the person that created it, their family, couldn't make a fortune of it. Just like I think it was with uh, it might have been Johnny Walker, the
Yep.
liquor.
Yep.
The guy who created it couldn't go and get a patent, so he partnered with somebody else. The guy put his signature on it and he made a fortune, but the guy made a little bit of it, but he couldn't make the same because he had to sell his patent. It's
Think
crazy.
about how many people, think about how many families have gained and lost because of that, man. It's
Yeah,
my kid,
that's why.
my son told me about something like something I was using every day. He's like, Dad, so and so invented that. I said,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I never knew that. He's like, yeah, and he couldn't. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I know that a black man invented this, so now I'm going to be more, understanding of that, so that I can be prideful in it, and
Yeah.
um, I even had a discussion with my kids and asked them, like, do you feel sad or bad about being black? And they was like, no, actually, I take pride in it because I know that there's so many inventions that black people have created.
Yeah.
So
We
that
helped
makes
build this
me,
country. So when
yeah,
anybody tells you, get out of this country, no, we built this country. We literally built this country.
as have you ever seen? Are you an Ip Man fan?
Yeah.
The last one I watched with my son, the one when he goes over and he
San Francisco.
yep, and
Hmm.
how they
I just watched that last weekend.
yeah, man, and he asked me, he's like, Dad, were white people just horrible to everybody? And I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah,
Um, you know, the Chinese people definitely built the railroads, man. Them and
yeah.
black people. And he's like, well, why do they tell them to go back to their country? I'm like, because some reason they feel entitled that this is their country,
Hmm.
knowing damn well it ain't
Okay,
none of our countries. Like it ain't none of
look
our
at
countries.
look at history. Look at history, right? Look at history. Let me say something very controversial right now, but it's facts. Everywhere that white men went, they conquered and destroyed or almost terminated the inhabitants of that region.
Mm,
Everywhere they went, if you think about it, or tried. They went to China, tried to conquer that, but Chinese were just outnumbered them. They went to India to do the same thing. Indians outnumbered them. I'm talking about India, the continent
yeah,
itself.
like with Gandhi and everything, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. They went when they came to Africa. They did just about the same thing.
Yo, and we'll
When they
continue,
came
and
to America, they did the same
we'll
thing.
continue. Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to
Okay.
that part you said about India, and it was crazy because I during my life I met the sweetest girl. She was from India.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she is from India, and she would end up being the teacher, but she saw me going back and forth with some people on Facebook, and she messaged me, and she's like, Julian, I just don't understand why people like this. And we went back and forth for a while, and she just like, she said the same thing like you just said, from the dawn of time. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I said, even if you look at what they did, to your people, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of share that with you. Like, it's a lot of us that we know that when I was in school, history books didn't tell you. They made pilgrims to be these amazing people, Christopher
Yeah.
Columbus to be a fucking rock star. You know,
Yeah. History is made by the victors. That's the only reason why.
yeah. Whoa, wow. Okay, yeah. But I didn't mean to fuck up your train of
That's all
thought.
right, man.
Yeah,
That's all right. That's all I wanted to put out there.
yeah. But I said the same thing to him. I said to him exactly that. I said, everyone that has came over to this country have only wanted one thing, and that's the American dream.
Yep.
That we're told that we can get, but we can't get.
Right.
And if we try to get it, we're hindered and spat on. For that's why when I saw Black Panther, I always was like, damn, yo, I wish it was a place like that. Um,
There might be coming a place like that.
oh yeah,
If you
Akon.
in the app, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's um there's a while I was out, all I did was watch YouTube, and because I could tailor it to what I wanted to watch.
Right.
So I was looking up a lot of stuff on Africa. Africa got it's a good time now to invest in Africa, because in the future Africa is going to have some stuff going on where it's going to take that continent way in the future, way past a lot of the rest of the civilization.
Mm.
They're so far going into the future with stuff. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be
And
amazing.
it's not
If
that
I find
expensive
that
too.
video, no, if I find a video, I'm going to send it to you, because some of the stuff that Africa is now looking to do is for infrastructure wise, for technology, for everything, is going to be amazing. And just with just looking up Akon got me looking more and more into
Yeah.
that. But just his vision alone, that's Wakanda. You know what I mean? That's Wakanda.
But the thing about that is, even when he's talking about these things, even when we're talking about these things, we're never at a point where we are excluding people.
No,
That's the
we're
crazy
not.
part, man.
We're inclusive. Everybody else is so inclusive. Well, not the Chinese. The Chinese were, they closed off. They didn't want anybody in their country, because they didn't want to have anybody tamper with their culture. But you know, everybody else were, when the pilgrims came to this country, the Native Americans welcomed them. When Europeans went to Africa, they were welcome. If you look at what's that, not Roots, what's the other movie, um Zulu Nation, right?
Oh man,
Shaka
that
Zulu.
was a tough one.
Yes, yeah. But they were welcome. They were welcome into their nation, but they turned around and tried to exterminate them. Like, you literally were welcome in, like somebody welcoming you into your home,
And a stab in the back.
but then they turn around and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
He took you home. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
So when I see these, so when I see these bots, these robots that are just talking because someone else gave them ammunition to talk, doesn't mean that those bullets are actual, lead and actual ammunition, quite frankly, they're blanks.
Right.
So when I hear them, not even hear them, but when I see them, actually hear them on the TV, but when I see them and reading these people's words, it's like you really don't know history.
They don't,
They
or
don't,
they know history, but they don't want to acknowledge history.
bro. The last guy I was talking to, he's a white guy too. Um, it was so good hearing the words from not somebody look like me, but somebody who was actually in touch with just being a human, man. So when you go
Mm-hmm.
back and I was asking about the election, I've never I can't say I've ever voted for a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Hey to all my listeners, thank you for taking the time to listen. Just wanted to kind of share some key points about this upcoming election, because it's very important that we go out, let our voices be heard, especially with everything going on in the world. And as you know, voting isn't just going to the polls on election day anymore. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and growing in popularity. How to Vote, a tool created by Democracy Works, breaks down the options your state offers to casting a ballot, empowering you to decide when and where to vote. Decide when and where your vote this year at howto.vote. Take care of yourself and please, please, please vote this year, because it's very important, and this will decide how life is going to be going forward. Yo, bro.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's why if this joint Wi-Fi, if someone calls, it'll cut you off.
I understand that.
So yeah, I think we got like a good, I want to say, hour and 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Shit,
Yeah.
all up is about good as long as the Titanic movie is. But
Yeah,
it's
man.
just I got wrapped up in talking with a great person.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Conversation like this is easy when everybody's good peoples. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's just good energy, man. So what I usually do at the end of my podcast, I actually no, I changed. It's not podcast anymore. Excuse me. It's a broadcast. I do broadcast. Okay, because we always have to urbanize everything.
Yeah.
Things urbanized. Uh, so I usually do like a call to action, just where I kind of think about the stuff that we talked about and just try to use it in a help out so I can do better in life.
Mm-hmm.
So what I took from our conversation was entrusting your partner more
Yeah.
and trying to get out your own head. And
Yeah.
it's easier said than done,
Yeah, absolutely.
but it's something that needs to be done.
It needs to be done.
Yeah. So I know that, it's not me that just has this issue,
Mm-hmm.
other men that have this issue as well. And I don't know. I know personally, um, as a black man that is married to a black woman, that when you talk about being separated, that can be a hinder. And we just gotta do better to break that stigma of that's going on in our community, man.
Yeah. It takes one it just takes one person. It takes one generation to do right, to start having the next generation do right. And hopefully what we started, what we're kind of seeing with our circle, will permeate throughout and get us all on onto better footing.
Right. All right. So I just wanted to say, I appreciate you hopping on. I know we've been playing phone tag, and there's been times, man, where I've just been dead, where I know like I can't give someone an hour of my time right now to where I'm gonna be able to be in tune with and respecting the time that this person is giving to me
Yeah.
the best way I can. It's just hard right now, man. It's just
Life's happening, man. That's
yeah.
all it is. Life is happening, and you just got to make the best of best of life. But I do appreciate and I thank you for the honor of even considering me for having this type of conversation. Just the fact that you think of me in the way that you thought, that I can give some perspective on everything that we kind of talked about. It is an honor for me. So thanks
I
for having that confidence, man, and that I
listen.
appreciate the honor.
I said since day one I met you, bro. I knew that we were going to be in each other's lives for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and society, people need to know that there are people like us that want our people to prosper, and we're all, at the end of the day, we're all not animals, you know.
Right.
Um, you know, with that said, the last thing is whoever's listening, um, you have a YouTube now, right?
I'm trying to build something.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I set up the channel. I don't know what I'm trying to do with it just yet. But at some
Please let
point,
me know. I'm a huge YouTube person. I
yeah,
actually have a YouTube channel as well too, and I'm trying to not be lazy and
yeah,
upload these to my YouTube, but because I don't do them live, and then with YouTube you have to do video. I found the app that does it because there's apps for everything, but it's just taking
yeah.
longer than it necessarily needs to be. Um, Now I do want to say this, and I'm gonna leave it like this. I love you, bro,
I love you, man.
and please, whoever's listening, please, please, please make sure that we are using our voice this year. This year is very, very important. This election is very important. Um, if you want better, better mental stability, if you want change in the world, please exercise your right to vote. If you're somebody who has a record, please make sure that you have the right to vote. Make sure that you are making, you make sure you're doing your due diligence to see that through, because there's a lot of people, like Snoop Dogg, who had a record, who didn't know he could vote, and this is his first year voting. And he's old as fuck.
It's
So
literally a life or death situation right now.
it is,
Think
man.
about it. Literally, it is.
It is. So please make sure. I gotta go, bro. And that's been another episode of Melanin Dads. I appreciate everybody listening. Bro, take care of yourself and your family. And congratulations on the house that was just built or being built. And
Thank you, sir.
on your new job, man. You deserve it.
Thank you, sir. Same to you, man.
All right, stay blessed, bro.
All right.